So I feel like I've been saying the same thing now for about the past 3 weeks. We've got more stuff this week of details being revealed, hidden past stuff coming out, shocking awareness to things, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's just things are continuing to come. There's a lot of stuff that just can't be left hidden any longer. So watch the whole video for more details on that this coming week. Just a reminder that this is meant to be a mundane reading, as in it's how things affect us geopolitically, economically, etc. Okay, and that I get my intuitive guidance through my own higher self when doing these readings. If you want to know more on my guidance on astrology and how I do this, please visit my website, mysticalmark.ca. With that being said, let's jump into the charts for this week here. Okay, so we're going to start the week off on Sunday, August 23rd. So at the top of my list here, we're going to have this Sun here, now in Virgo, in trine to Chiron retrograde. Okay, so that's details, dealing with the details of things. But what I get a sense of is maybe forest fires. I said with Chiron and Taurus, now it's retrograde, that we're dealing with a sense of maybe obviously this wound to the Earth, the planet, as it relates to Taurus, right? So like I said, it relates to like forest fires, among other things. This can also be economically, as well as what they're getting to me now, money-wise, etc. So, but it's about details about that. There's something about this, I don't know what it is in terms of political figures, something, details surrounding either dealing with or not dealing with these forest fires, or just details about them. I did something around that. But this aspect of the Sun here illuminating the details surrounding these wounds. This could also relate to money, economic wounds, etc. Maybe even in relation to the forest fires, or just standalone on its own, relating to money, economics, whatever. And then they're saying other material wounds as well, possibly as it relates to maybe trade or other things. There's a focus on the details here surrounding this, ultimately to clear and heal the wound. That may not happen immediately, but eventually into the future, by just having a look at what those details are, focusing on those details. So we're also going to have Juno retrograde here in this semi-sextile to Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius. Okay. It's almost like this is... So with Juno retrograde, we're going over this old ground of old partnerships. And in Capricorn, we're dealing with what I get a sense of is these partnerships that had surrounded aspects of control. As in, these partnerships came together to control. And this is relating to who was outcasted. And what I get a sense of was like the global population. So whether these seem like, that seems like either like business partnerships or people like at the top, or some type of large players, whether they be political, business, or whatever, in dealing with, or not dealing with, but they were like almost like colluding or coming together in some way to purposefully, almost like the word I'm getting is degrade or outcast a lot of the population. Okay, so that's all for that. Let's move on to Monday, August 24th here. Okay, so on Monday the 24th here, we're going to have Mercury in trine to Black Moon Lilith. Okay, I feel like this is on the same lines as this Juno semi-sextile here. So there is something that's coming to light through communication that's bringing all of this up. So in relation to this semi-sextile with Black Moon Lilith, as in like these collusions or partnerships that we're trying to control or outcast the population in whatever way, there's some type of an awareness that is coming to light through communication or otherwise that is now illuminating this outcastedness of the population, the collective, whatever, in whatever way that was. Okay, Mercury is also going to be in this biquintile to Neptune retrograde. What I get again with this is dealing with things that were hidden. There's this support of release for that which was trying to be deceiving or hidden, etc. It seems like this is now coming through to light. So there's a behind the scenes part to like a biquintile energy, and it's almost like it's with this Mercury in Leo, it's illuminating whatever this kind of behind the scenes stuff was that was hidden with this Neptune retrograde. The word I'm getting is like colluded again, or collusion. I don't know what the hell is going on here, but there's a lot of shit that's coming up, okay, is basically what this is about. And as it relates to, especially with Neptune in Aries, our individuality, independence, sovereignty, etc. Or maybe what was against that as well. Because as well on this day, we're going to have Mercury in sesqui-square to Saturn. Okay, here's the missing piece, because I was getting this as it relates to a restriction of that, but I get that's what this was. There's communication surrounding a restriction, or why things were restricted, or a restriction, or this control that shouldn't have been as controlling as it was, in limiting, restricting, or controlling independence, sovereignty, individuality, etc. That ended up outcasting others, or the collective, or in whatever way that this ends up playing out. But this feels like, with these retrogrades, this is dealing with past stuff. This is dealing with past behaviors, past whatever, that is now, there's an awareness that is now brought into the spotlight here because of this energy. How it's being used is bringing it into the spotlight. Okay, and remember, this is how astrology is used, okay? If these things never happened, or these things never occurred in the past, this would be used in a completely different way. There's creative use or creative influence of these energies, all right? If you want more on that, go to my website, mysticalmark.ca, the page What is Astrology, that explains what my guidance is on that. All right. Anyway, moving on. So let's move on to Tuesday the 25th here. This is when we're going to have Mercury now coming into Virgo. Okay. See, Mercury in Virgo. There's a lot going on about the details of things. But this is based on what has already come up. And I'm being drawn to the fact, with this South Node in Leo, things from the past that are now being illuminated and coming up. There's more of an awareness of maybe the details of things now really beginning to come through and shine through with this. I mean, we've got Mercury basically almost conjunct the Sun here again within a degree, and pretty close to the South Node as well. Okay, so again, there's highlighting there's details of things, and that they are coming up. Remember, the Sun rules Leo, South Node is in Leo, so there's this culmination, or this combination of energy here that is really bringing that up in that way. So highlighting a lot of the detail stuff. Now, in general, for Mercury in Virgo for this transit, let's just see. I see a lot of anger based on knowledge of the details. Anger from like people and political figures, but people in government. It's like they work for the governments, but they're higher level type stuff, and I see anger based on the details, knowledge of the details, understanding of these things. These are people that seemingly didn't know certain things, and they're annoyed that something has happened, or that they're now being made aware of stuff, and it's like, how could you have done this, or something. Like, it's something like that. It's really like, I just see like literally the image is that of what I get, the vibe of a politician, but obviously in like the suit and tie kind of thing, like in a room, like maybe a conference, some kind of maybe not a conference room, but some kind of like professional room is what I will say, who's just like angry and maybe like throwing papers, or like just outrightly pissed off, and seemingly rightfully so for some reason. due to awareness of the details. The Mercury and Virgo thing is due to the awareness of the details. Is there anything else to this? Being drawn to more of the public and collective part of this. Through this understanding of the details, it's almost like there's a collective, like, fuck you, in a way. There's very much a negative feeling towards whatever these details were that have come out or are being understood or viewed or whatever. I get that as like a collective energy. But it's in terms of a very much of an overview of that energy. It's hard to, like, you're not going to understand what everyone feels, but there's a very strong, like, kind of like, I get it with a sense of maybe stress of daily life, stress of whatever, but there's this underlying, like, fuck you kind of an energy, like, how could you have done this? But it's with other, it's hard to describe and explain. So I'm just going to leave it at that, to be honest. Okay, so, and before Mercury comes into Virgo, Mercury is obviously going to be conjuncting the nodes, or not conjuncting the south node and in opposition to the north node. So, and also, when Mercury comes into Virgo, there's also this trine to Chiron. we got a lot going on here. Feel like that trine to Chiron maybe relates back to something surrounding maybe the forest fire issue, or, like I said, there's still this awareness of the details surrounding that. But the other stuff that I talked about was seemingly something that's different. Again, it's how this energy is used. Okay, and it's being like used, I'm being shown like maybe two different directions here, but there's obviously more ways in which this can go through. Basically, when they do these, they give me the major, kind of like the major big things that they want people to either be aware of, or the larger stories, etc. Because we're dealing with this on a global scale, or because maybe I'm in North America, it could be related, skewed maybe more in that direction, but they're trying to weigh it out in a certain way. And again, because this is a future reading, these are future probable outcomes, and they're looking at the largest, biggest probable outcomes. Okay? And of course, those are always subject to change due to free will, but they're doing like the biggest, largest possible ones in relation to global stuff. So like maybe what would be the biggest stories, etc. So that we can see. Now, that's also the biggest stories in relevance to them and what their guidance is and coming through too. Okay, so there's still that part of it, so it may not be like the biggest news story of the week, but it's related also to what they want people to pay attention to and be aware of. Okay, so in saying all of that, Mercury in conjunction to the South Node, this is obviously illuminating communication awareness of these old things that are being brought up again for this awareness. Obviously opposition to the North Node for awakenings, progress, understanding, and moving in a completely new direction. Okay. In trine to Chiron, like I said, it could relate to those forest fires things, or stuff surrounding that, details, whatever. I don't know exactly what that is about or relating to in that way. It could also relate to those other Chiron ones that I talked about previously in this video. And yeah, that's kind of all with that. So let's move on here to Wednesday the 25th. We're going to have the Sun here in this biquintile to Juno retrograde. This feels okay. So this aspect of partnership is shifted. There is some kind of hidden behind the scenes partnership that has come together for committed reasons. This seems like something new, even though it's Juno's retrograde, it's something new that has come together to deal with these past things. Okay, that's how it relates to the retrograde. And it was kind of done, this has been worked on creatively behind the scenes and is now being like made, there's like an awareness made in some way here. I'm getting more the Sun conjunct Mercury as bringing an awareness to this than necessarily that Virgo energy. I was saying it's not really the fact that the Sun is, that they're in Virgo. It's that this Sun conjunct Mercury is basically highlighting or bringing out this aspect of this communication or this awareness of whatever that partnership is. Okay, the Sun is also going to be in this quincunx to Pluto Retrograde. This feels along the same lines of what I just said. It's just that this Pluto is, okay, whatever this partnership is diving deep into transforming, changing, and dealing with these things, and to make proper, almost like humanitarian progress or proper progress kind of like for the people in dealing with whatever these old things were that were not good or whatever. I almost want to say with the power of Pluto here, the negative, what we may normally feel is like negative from a quincunx, isn't fully really existing in this place, within this aspect. It's like, okay, they're saying it's frustrating that having to deal with the past or whatever in this way, but there's power behind this Pluto in strongly resolving this, transforming it, and moving forward. This is being backed up by big things and big players. Okay, and so because of this frustration is like, it's almost like negligible because the power behind dealing with this and this transformation and getting to the root of the problem and finally solving it is more than the frustration of having to deal with it. So it's like, no, we're doing this, we're dealing with this, you know, we got the power to do so. It's along those lines. Okay. And again, I just get it's related to this Sun conjunct Mercury thing. It's like the fact that they're in Virgo, it's like that part of the energy is not being used. It's almost like not applied with this. It's just, and again, this is an example of the creative use of this energy. Okay? And this is why I also don't do like sun sign astrology as well, because in some people's charts, your sun just isn't that relevant. Really. Your soul came in at that time because there was other parts of the chart that it wanted to utilize and use for the creative expression or the character that you wanted to play in this lifetime. Not necessarily that. There could be parts of the chart that were maybe even not really used at all or anything like that in the creative expression of you being you. So you need to take that into account here. Okay? And I feel like they're kind of giving this as an example of that in terms of how this is being used and being laid out in this way. And again, if you want to know more on that and what my guidance is on this, go to my website, mysticalmark.ca. Okay? The Sun is also going to be in quincunx to Neptune here as well. This is dealing with these old things uncovering these old things, getting to the bottom of it, and finally actually dealing with it. Okay, the Sun conjunct Mercury, it's like we're seeing it and we're dealing with it, is what I get with that in whatever way that's going to be. Okay, Mercury as well is in this biquintile to Juno retrograde. So I feel it's just the same thing as what I said, right? In relation to the Sun, because the Sun is conjunct into Mercury. It's what I said already with with the sun in the biquintile to it. Same vibe. Okay, let's move on to Thursday the 27th here. This, okay, is when we're going to have this full moon lunar eclipse, as well as we had like this sun in conjunction to Mercury as well. But that happens earlier. So the sun in conjunction to Mercury happens exact 11:03 a.m. Central, and this eclipse happens at 10:18 to 19 p.m. Central. Okay. This eclipse with sun in Virgo and moon in Pisces. This very strong is the details of what has been hidden and revealing a lot of hidden things. And and with this conjunction of Mercury, it's bringing a very strong awareness to that, to if I get this depth of like what has been hidden, what they tried to hide, all of that. But I'm kind of being drawn to, we have to remember that these eclipses relate to the nodes. The south node is in Leo, the north node is in Aquarius. Now, what this is doing is this is illuminating the past and allowing us to make more humanitarian progress towards the future. Awakenings, moving forward through awakenings, understandings, that type of stuff. Okay, so and I did get this before about this eclipse, but yeah, it's very much through details and awareness of said details is illuminating the deception, what's been hidden, those kinds of things. I don't really have much else to say surrounding this energy, to be honest. Also on this day, we're going to have Mercury in, where are we? So there's this quincunx to Neptune. Sorry, I'm trying to look at my list and look at the chart at the same time. At the same time with this conjunction. So, again, what I get a sense with this is this frustration of what has been kept hidden. And with this Neptune retrograde, it's bringing that stuff up. I mean, the moon here is in Pisces, Neptune's sign, Neptune's retrograde, going over these old things. We're looking at highlighting the details, Sun conjunct Mercury here in Virgo, and realizing what has been hidden. Illuminating this. And of course, this is an eclipse, which carries a bit of a stronger, more intense energy. It's not bad. Eclipses aren't bad. Remember, this is how this energy is being used, guys. It's not something like eclipses should be scary or whatever. It's just a natural phenomenon through how these cycles play out. But it carries an intensity due to its alignment with the moon, right? With the nodes here, the nodal axis, because the nodes are the nodes of the moon. Okay. Mercury is also going to be here in the semi-square to Venus. There's people that are aware of this and are dealing with it. They're trying to deal with it to find appropriate balance and justice. I feel like I'm repeating myself for the past now 3 weeks at least in terms of this. Whoever these people are, this Venus, these people are that seem like they're in some higher level of government or whatever. It's like a group of people that are trying to deal with whatever the hell this is that's coming out. And it could be multiple things. It could be a big thing, could be a big thing and other smaller things. It could be, I don't know. It could be multiple different things. Because the fact that this is coming through in this way, I mean, it could be one really big thing, or it could just be a lot of stuff that is just coming to the surface now due to this energy and how it's being used in this way. Right? The intent behind this energy of being used in this way. Okay, so yeah, that's Thursday the 27th here. Friday the 28th, we're going to have Mercury here in this square to Uranus. Oh boy. Okay. Specifically this Mercury in square to Uranus. I get a lot more of this anger. Like I said earlier with the picture or the image that I got of that politician, like angry and throwing papers, I get a lot of that anger. Again, maybe through awareness of whatever communication has come through in whatever way, surrounding the details, something like that. And it seems like it's really pushing people, or this guy or whoever this is, what the vision in my mind doesn't necessarily represent the gender of the person, okay? It's just showing me a vision. But yeah, it's whatever that is, anger in relation to whatever those details are, whatever is being brought to awareness. But what I get a sense of is there's a positive backing to bringing this awareness up, because it needs to be brought into awareness to be made aware of and to properly deal with it. Okay? Venus is also going to be in sesqui-square to Uranus. This is part of, this is a huge part of this anger, because it feels like maybe that what I saw, the person that I'm seeing here that's angry is a part of whatever these group of people are in government that are trying to seek balance or justice or whatever in this way, or try to understand it. And the sesqui-square is like a super square. It's the whatever can't be swept under the rug any longer, right? To this Uranus and Gemini, this shocking communication, awakening moment of, or awareness, shocking awareness of something. Then what I get a sense of, it really shakes things up with whoever these people are or what is going on here. I don't know. There's a lot to this. Sun is also going to be in square to Uranus. It feels like it's the details that are shocking with this, illuminating the details, communicating the details with the Sun still in conjunction to Mercury here, that becomes shocking and maybe brings that anger and stuff out in a lot of people. Sun is also going to be in semi-square to Venus, again, in relation to whoever these people are in this group and government, trying to seek balance or whatever in whatever way that this is. Let's move on now to our Saturday the 29th. We're going to have Mercury here in this biquintile to Saturn retrograde. This feels like very behind the scenes, trying to come to terms with what's been made aware of in terms of the details, in terms of what's been highlighted surrounding this aspect of restriction, control, these old things. Restriction, control, etc. But as Saturn's retrograde, it's like these old things from the past, these old patterns of things. But what I get a sense of through what I'm seeing here is it's whoever that politicians is, or those people are that are trying to make sense of, behind the scenes, trying to make sense of and work out something or come to terms with something that has been made aware of in terms of the details surrounding this aspect of past restriction, trying to control or limit individuality, sovereignty, freedom, etc., whatever, in whatever way that is. Jupiter here in Leo will be in sesqui-square to Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius. I just kind of get that this is expanding and overinflating the spotlight on this outcastedness. It feels like of the collective, of like a lot of people, a majority of the population, or a large majority of the population, as it relates to what has been made aware of, what's coming out, etc., 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 surrounding this. That's all that I get from this. Okay, I mean, we've made it to the end of the week, so if you made it this far in the video, please leave a purple heart in the comments so that I know you're a real one. Thank you so much. I do like past corroborations on these astrology videos. They're on my website, mysticalmark.ca, where I, do research to look on the news stories of the week in relation to what the astrology forecast is, and you can have a look at those. I also do monthly breakdowns as well for the whole month, breaking it down in that way, and I started a video for July, so you could check that out if you want, where we go over July's news stories in relation to these astrology videos. Yeah. I don't think I have much else to say surrounding any of this, because I feel like I've been talking about the same thing almost for like the past 3 weeks, and through this entire... I feel like this is a very common theme for this eclipse or whatever's going on, so yeah. Anyways, hope everyone has a great week, and take care everyone. Bye for now. Bye.